Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Welcome to the Awakening Women Show. I'm your host, Leanne Oaten, a former counselor with a background in counseling psychology. I'm a mentor for high-achieving, ambitious women with over 13 years in the mental health and empowerment space. I've guided hundreds of women and have influenced over 100,000 through my platforms, podcast, and other courses, programs, and mentorship. I'm also the creator of the Relationship Clarity program, formerly known as End the Cycle, which you will hear me mention a lot of times as we go through the episodes. This program is to help women break free from destructive relationship cycles and come to clarity and power about their next step. This show is for the woman who knows her relationship struggles go deeper than the usual conflict. You know there's something more going on, but you can't quite nail it down or pinpoint what that is. You'll find clarity here, empowerment, truth, and validation. Clarity on whether your relationship can be healed or whether it's time to reclaim your life and move forward. What started as me sharing my own experiences quickly became a movement, because the truth is, so many ambitious, successful women are stuck in confusing and draining relationship dynamics while trying to rise in every other area of their life, career, motherhood. This is you, you're not alone, and you don't have to keep living this way. Inside this podcast, you'll hear some of my most downloaded episodes, plus fresh content designed to help you break patterns, reclaim your wholeness, and decide once and for all if this relationship is where you belong. I'm so glad you found this space. Let's dive in. Welcome to this episode of the Awakening Women podcast. I'm your host, Leanne Oaten. In this episode, I'm piggybacking off of the last one where I talked about this midlife reckoning era of time that us women in our 40s, late 40s, 50s are stepping into. So this can really start to happen anytime in your 40s, but what I have really noticed is that what has changed the most is my feelings around my role as what I was with a wife, being a wife and mother, and the roles around, living alone, been dating someone, but living alone, being independent, financially independent, looking after everything that there is to look after as a single woman, basically, and parenting and completion with the raising of my two daughters who are now young adults, and one has moved out and one is back and forth, foot in, foot out. She is leaving for good very soon. And well, I shouldn't say for good. She's going to come back, but she'll be a little bit out of town. It has been very difficult for me, and I've had to get support and mentorship and really learning about why this has been so difficult. And, some parents or moms are like, oh, I can't wait. I just am ready for this next chapter. But for me, there's been a lot of grief and this feeling of who am I now? This feeling like the ground is shifting under me with everything I've ever known. I've been a mom since I was pregnant at 19. So that's all I've ever known since that age, is being a mom and being very focused in on my child, my children. And as a wife, for as long as that was, nearly 2 decades. So I feel like as women, we go through all of this and then we get to this stage of life where everything is changing. And if you're looking at the possibility of a divorce, or you're trying to figure out, is your relationship going to carry on? You might be grappling with that now that your kids have left or they're almost leaving, and you're thinking, what am I going to do when I'm alone with this person? We have no connection. We're basically roommates. We're not having sex. Maybe you're not even sleeping in the same room. You don't talk. You don't have any type of emotional connection. And you feel like he's completely checked out of the relationship. He's not interested in working on it, although he says he is, but he shows you differently. And you just feel like you're alone. And he stays checked out and has no interest in trying to meet you there. And so maybe you've gone along just trying to make do because you had kids and you wanted to keep the family together, which is a noble thing, right? There's a lot of shaming around don't keep your family together just because of your kids. But I think it does have to be an independent decision, and we all do our very best. I also think there is something to, if you have kids that are just about to launch, maybe now is not the time to completely blow up their entire life in that moment. Now is the time for you to start taking some very strategic, specific steps for yourself to get really clear. Do I want to continue on in this relationship once the kids leave? And if so, how do I want it to look? What am I expecting of him? And what's the work I need to do to feel good within myself and experience my life differently? Or is it that the next phase for you is leaving and exiting? So this is what I do with women. We do this inside of the collective. When you come in, you will you'll have access to my signature programs. For one, when you come in, this is something I've decided to do very recently. I am going to give access to my signature programs because I want women to have them. And I want them in the hands of as many women as I can get them into, along with access to me and a community. So I've put this all together. So wherever you are, if you're still in the relationship trying to get clarity, you want the process, you want the strategy, you want to process instead of floundering and wasting your time, spinning your wheels. You want an actual process that you can follow to get clarity and a plan, or to decide. If you have already left or you are on that wavelength of leaving, then there's a process for you there to catch you as you're leaving in the very near stages after leaving. And then there is the self-sourced codes and the teachings that I'm putting into the group. There is over 100 of them in there right now in audio format that you can binge while you're walking, while you're driving, while you're doing anything else, so that you have me in your ear. So I created that. And I also do limited one-on-one coaching. So if you're interested in the coaching, you have to reach out to me. Just message me on Instagram. This is a higher level investment. It's for the woman who wants that high touch support. But the collective is for you for getting into my community, getting weekly coaching with me in the group, and getting access to my signature programs that I've developed over the last 6 years. So when it comes to this phase of life, it's looking at, all right, this is what I did. I'm like, okay, I'm feeling this sad. I'm feeling this grief and this kind of a loss, like a mourning almost, but they're alive. Of course, thank goodness, right? They're just moving into a different phase of life. And so am I. And so part of this is coming with what's next for me. Am I going to stay where I am? Am I going to move? What am I going to do? What do I want? And it's the first time in my life where I actually get to think about what I want, when usually I was putting everybody else first. I always put my kids and what they need first, which don't regret that. I did my job. I put them first through their whole entire lives. And so now I get to ask myself, what do I want? And so using this as an opportunity to get into personal growth, getting mentorship, doing more reading, experimenting with new cooking and recipes that work for me when I'm by myself. Like next week, I am solo and I will be oftentimes not even making myself dinner because it's just me, and I have to stop that because that's not a healthy way to feed my metabolism, right? If you're not really eating correctly. So coming up with new recipes or getting on a health bandwagon or really doing that depth work that you need to do, but you've been too busy with kids and all of the things. And so at this time in your life, this is where you get to actually focus in on yourself. It's the time in our life where the hormones are declining. I heard it explained, I believe it was Dr. Christian Northrup, who said that what happens in the menopausal years is the hormonal levels that we have when we are pregnant and we have infants and children. We have to nurture, like we have to have that really intense bond with them, right? That bond. You have a baby, it's like, it's a very intense wanting to protect them and nurturing them and all of those things. But as they get older and our hormones decline, we lose those nurturing hormones. It's actually biological that this happens. And so we lose that kind of nurturing desire as they get older, which is probably for a reason, right? Our kids don't want to be coddled in their adult years. They want to know we love them and we're there for them and that they matter always and that we are there for them, right? But they don't want to be nurtured necessarily and treated like children. I mean, I shouldn't say they don't want to be nurtured. They probably do, but just in a different way. The relationship changes as they get into late teens and early adult years. It does change. We go through these menopausal changes and we wonder why all of a sudden I've gone through my whole life just kind of letting him be who he is and do what he's doing, and I just focus in on the house, my career, my business, and raising the children and my own health and my own self-care. I've always been really up on my self-care. That's not something I had to ever try hard with. We go through and then you reach a point when you have these hormonal shifts where you're like, it's just not there. And I'm wanting more. I want more connection. Now the kids are older, they've left. I want connection with this man that I've been living with, and finding that there isn't anything there. And that can be really difficult because then you're like, well, now what? And you have fear. Okay, so if I go out on my own, what's that going to look like? What's that going to look like financially and logistically? And I'll be on my own. And will I ever be able to meet anyone else? And what does that look like, right? And so then you get into that and you can almost just freeze in place and not do anything. So what I have women do is we just start where you are, wherever you are. If that's where you are, there is a methodology for that. There's a process, there's tools you can use to move yourself to the next level of awakening, which I call the 5 scales of awakening. So there are 5 levels to it. And so you come in and you start wherever you're at and you work your way up. And that's what it's about. Because what else are we here for other than to evolve? Like to evolve and try to enjoy our time here. Like it's finite. It's impermanent. Everything is. Parenthood, when they're little and things change and your relationship changes with them, it's all so fleeting. And that's something that has really awakened within me recently is, you know, what do I want to do with the last however long I have, right? And not to be morbid. Like when you study Buddhism, they say to meditate on your impermanence because it keeps you grateful. It keeps you really alive and awake to the present moment of whoever you're with. That's what I'm bringing into the collective, is more about this consciousness work. My whole brand for the last 6 years, almost 7, coming up 7, has been awakening women. That's where it came from, was starting from my own awakening. When you have those moments that I describe, as you've been fumbling around in a dark room trying to find your way, and suddenly the light flips on and now you see everything and you can't unsee it. And we often have many of those moments, especially when we're on this consciousness and growth path. We will have many of those moments. And so that's what my whole work has been about, is being conscious, being awake, being aware, not following the masses, not letting other people think for you and choose for you. This is the self-sourced way that we talk about in the collective. The self-sourced codes, what we live by to be self-sourced and no longer outsource things that we need to find within ourselves and create within ourselves, not outsourcing things to men, money, anything external, even doctors, the medical system. Like, how do we approach life from this way so that we are never caught in something again that we regret? And that's what my passion is helping women wake up and see the truth. That's my passion. And if that's where you're at and this is resonating with you and you're in this phase of life where you're just fumbling around trying to figure out what's next, maybe you want to make a career change, or you want to start a business or a side business, or something's changing in your career, or you want to go for something different, or you want to do something different. this is the time to do that, because we no longer are birthing babies, but we need to be creative. We need our creativity for our health. We have to have creative outlets. And so I ask you now, what is it that you're birthing now? What's this next level iteration of you and your life as your kids are growing and they're leaving home and they're moving on, as they should? You've done your job well if they do that. As hard as it is, you've done your job if they are able to go out on their own and figure out what it is that they're going to do, whatever it is. And you are the lighthouse for them. We don't need to chase them around and micromanage them or control them or anything. But we work on our own consciousness. We work on our own evolution, and we're the lighthouse that they come back to. Just the lighthouse doesn't chase the boats. The boats follow the lighthouse. The lighthouse doesn't move. So that's what I envision our role as mothers, as our kids are flying the nest. They're leaving the home. They're going out there into the big open wide world, figuring it out themselves, that we're there and we're that solid force. Now, something that I have coached a lot of women on as well, and this is not easy, and I think I mentioned this in the last episode, but it bears repeating, is if you leave or you stay or whatever you do in this relationship, your kids don't want to hear you shit talking their dad. Even though he's been however he's been with you, he's still their dad. And when you do that, you're building a wedge between you and your kids. And what I have seen happen many times where women are just devastated is the kids gravitate toward the father when that happens. And this is especially true after a separation or if you're divorcing. And this can be incredibly painful and difficult to witness. And most of the times women are not understanding. They're blaming him. Oh, he's doing all these wonderful things for them now when he did nothing for them all these years. I was the mother. I did everything. And here he is now doing all this fun stuff with them, and they're going toward him more. But the one thing that they're not seeing, where the tough love comes in and where I'm very direct, is we have to be able to look at what we're doing that's kind of driving them away. Are you being negative? Are you being a drag? Are you down in the dumps? Are you thinking depressive thoughts? Are you thinking negatively? Are you down on yourself? Are you complaining a lot? Are you not taking care of you? Because our kids don't want to be around us when that's the case. Think about it. Do you want to be around your parents when they're a drag and they're a downer and they're negative? Right? Or if they're not alive, think about that. If you've ever had negative downer parents in any way like that, then you'll know that. And I experienced that. So I vowed that even though I wasn't perfect, I reached a point where I realized that I had to let go of the past and be that healthy mom that is really putting myself first and not guilting them for whatever it is they choose to do. I just continue being who I am and take care of myself, constantly doing the growth work. And it's a lifestyle to be reading the books and doing the courses and getting mentorship beyond therapy, right? Therapy has its role, but if you're anything like me, I get a lot more out of doing programs where I can go through the content and learn from the creator or the leader, implement it on my own, have somewhere I can ask a question. Like, that's honestly where I do best. I don't necessarily get as much out of like sitting in a session or a therapy session. I get a lot more out of self-study, implementation, and being able to get clarification when needed. And that's what I do. And I have been doing that. I have mentorship. And so I really recommend that. So if you're in this place of what do I do from here? Where do I go from here? What's my next steps? Well, that's it. This is your era to ask yourself, what do I want? What do I need? What's my next level? Maybe what I've talked about here, there's quite a few things that you're thinking you'd like to do. And none of that requires having to give that power away to a man or anyone else. Whether you're in the relationship or you've left the relationship, the self-sourced woman is doing the same work regardless. Because we're coming back to self. We're centering ourselves when our whole lives we have centered everyone outside of ourselves. We've made a man our God. And we need to stop doing that. This is what women do. You make him your almighty. You pedestal him, that he's above you somehow. And it's time to flip that dynamic. And you do that by devoting to yourself and doing the inner work and investing in yourself and connecting with other people who are doing this work, other women, so that you don't feel alone in this, so that you realize it's not just you, and you get answers to things that you didn't even know you needed answers to, especially when you're in a community. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm really redevoting to myself, my personal growth, my spiritual growth. Like I said, getting mentorship and guidance where I need it, and really pouring into my creativity. And those are all things that you have power over. So that's my directives for you, my prescription to you. If you are in that place of the kids are leaving, my relationship is in limbo, I don't know what to do, I'm not happy, he doesn't want to connect, he's not interested in making things better or putting energy in or planning dates or trying to bring more romance in, and I'm finding myself chasing him for attention, and he's calling me too sensitive, or I'm being too needy, and so I just feel alone. You deserve more than that. You deserve a man that is making effort to connect with you and be with you. He wants to see you. He wants to do things with you. If you're feeling alone, then start befriending yourself. Start doing the things you need to do to stop chasing a man. Whether it's someone you're dating or you've been married to for decades, stop chasing him. And as soon as you do that pivot and he notices, that's when the dynamic shifts, because you're no longer doing the pursuing. You are pursuing yourself. You are obsessed with you, your evolution. That's your new hobby, not trying to fix him, not trying to get him into therapy or work on things. You've been already doing that, right? So you do a 180 and you focus in on yourself. And if you want the support, then get inside the collective. The link will be in the show notes. I noticed that there is not a lot of, I've been looking for resources for women at this phase, and I was looking for books. I was looking for actual valuable resources. Like, what do you do at this phase of life when everything is changing and what you knew of yourself as a mother is changing? I haven't found anything. So I want to create a space where we can have these discussions so that women don't feel alone, because it can feel really lonely and really just disorienting, because you've oriented your whole life around motherhood and that's changing. You've oriented perhaps decades around a marriage and a family, and that's changing, or it's not working, or it's coming apart. And so sometimes you have all that stuff going on at one time, and maybe you have aging parents or something going on there, or other family stuff. So I see you and I understand, and you're not alone. So I hope that this has helped you and it's been supportive to you if this is where you're at, because I've definitely been on this journey for the last, almost maybe a year now, more so of that. And it's starting to maybe get a little bit easier, but tonight I was making something for dinner and my youngest popped into my head. She just moved out last weekend and I was thinking, oh, is she going to eat this? And it's funny how you still think of them in that way. I had this brief moment, I wonder if she's probably not going to eat what I'm making, because she's very selective about things. And so I just texted her and told her that happened as a way to connect. I forgot you're not here. And it is hard. It's very painful at times. And I'm also getting to the place where I'm okay, so what am I going to do now? What's my next phase that I can really devote to myself? And I've worked really hard to get to this place. And I don't know what's going to happen. The next few months may hold some big changes for me. I'm not sure. And I've decided that I'm no longer making decisions from panic, anxiety, fear, or what people are telling me to do. I am learning to not decide if the way is not clear. So I give that advice to you. Wherever you're at, if it's unclear, it means there's more for you to learn there. There's something more, there's lessons, there's something more that needs to happen. If you don't have the path, if the decision is not clear, don't make the decision yet. That's what I will leave you with. Bye for now.